Imti, welcome to the Stay Hungry podcast.
Nice to be here, mate. Oh, I knew that.
Nice. So, I guess this is going to be an interesting one. We're going to talk about rewiring your life, which is a bold statement. But just to start with, who are you?
Who am I now?
Who are you? Who is Imti?
I'm somebody who made every single mistake you could think of under the sun, failed at pretty much everything he's ever tried, and then managed to come back and succeed.
Interesting. I'm going to pick on something you've said already, because there's no one that's succeeded that hasn't failed at those things first. Mm. So what makes you lead with, I've failed at everything I've tried? It feels to me, like I've known you a short time, that you've succeeded at everything you've tried.
Not everything. Everything. I'm in the process of succeeding in certain, like, for example, my personal life. You know, I've not been the best son over the years. I've not been the best brother over the years. You know, that sort of thing. So those are things that you're gonna have to work on continuously.
Yeah.
But I've definitely failed.
Yeah.
I've definitely failed. You know, so that's why I said, you know, that's why I led with failure.
Yeah.
There's certain areas that you can, that are tangible things that you can see, you know, business-wise, actually turning your life around, your physique, so on and so forth. Cool. But the things that people probably don't know about in terms of what I failed at.
See, because I'm like a big believer that failure is the path to success.
Yes, 1,000,000%.
But most people avoid failure, so they never have the success.
Yeah.
Talk me through some of your failures then. How's this story come about?
So, failed at school.
Yeah.
Academically, I was pretty gifted.
Yeah.
I did well up until a certain point when I thought, I don't believe in this. I can't get behind it. I don't believe in the system.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe how somebody can live a life that they truly want within this system. So I failed at that.
So rebellious, really.
Yeah. Telling teachers, you know, that they haven't got a clue what they're doing. Being outspoken, questioning what I was being taught, being punished for that. Always questioning the status quo. Playing devil's advocate. And that isn't rewarded within the school system or any system, as a matter of fact. So I failed there. I failed as a drug dealer before I succeeded as a drug dealer. And then I failed again. Okay. Went to prison. Didn't speak to my old man for 5 years because of our differences. Failed there as a son. Like I said, always in trouble probably up until I went to prison. So up until the age of 26. I think I've got 13 charges in my name, 9 convictions. So, yeah, I think I fucked up my fair share.
And those failures, because some of those are significant, you know, there'll be people listening to this that won't have any experience of that kind of thing. Yeah. What were you striving for to cause those failures?
On the surface of it, it was financial gain. We grew up in an area where we weren't affluent. Mm-hmm. It was a poor area. Majority Asian, Muslim sort of area on the outskirts of city centre. So it was always a case of we'd see things, you know, we grew up on essentially what was a state. We'd see things on the TV, on music videos, and like, we want a piece of that. And the only way for me that I could see that I was going to be able to achieve that and get that sort of lifestyle and that level of success and that level of accolade was doing nefarious things, you know, getting involved with the wrong sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So that was, I couldn't put the two dots together in terms of legit work as we know it, and living that sort of lifestyle. That made sense to me early on. What I did know was that business was the way forward. However, I didn't know what business to get into, and the only business that I could see in front of me was the one on the streets. So that's what I put my hand to.
And what went wrong? That sounds like a bizarre question.
At what point?
But
towards the end. So in the beginning, I can remember I started selling, like most kids do get into that, started selling a bit of weed. I was about 15.
Yeah.
So I selling a bit of weed, saw a bit of money, fucked up, owed some dangerous people a significant amount of money at the time. This is when I was like 17, 18. Learned my lesson. Then I started dabbling in Class A's, cocaine. Started to build up, kind of climbed the ladder, as it were. And then I was doing well. I was comfy, man.
So I think, like, some of our listeners, and certainly people I've had conversations with, so I grew up on a council house terrace. Like, you know, I'm from the block as such.
Yeah.
And I talk to people and I'm like, well, drugs were just there. It's not like, they're like, they act like it's something that's only at parties or something. I'm like, I could knock next door.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't. And so the people around me, I would say, when I was growing up, who had stuff, was because of that.
Yeah,
and adults too, not just teenagers.
Yeah.
And so I could see that was perhaps a fast track to nice things. I wouldn't say those people look particularly fulfilled. They probably, a lot of those people had.
For me, it seemed like they were. It seemed like they were loving life. And when you haven't got something and the next person has, that's all you focus on. It's only when I started to get into it and I realized that the guys that I was looking up to, that I eventually started to work with at some point, like, their heads are fucked. Their life's a mess, you know?
There's a lot of looking over your shoulder in that space.
Even in terms of relationships, you know, they're always afraid. You're always falling out with one party and then making friends with another one. And it was too chaotic in the end.
Yeah.
It was way too chaotic, but that's what comes along with that sort of lifestyle. That's what I wasn't banking on. But once I was in it, I was in it.
Yeah. So you're in it. You're successful in that space. How did the law catch up with you?
So we got complacent, really. I was 26. I was changing car every month. I had, 30, 40 grand Rolex on my wrist. That's like, I thought I fucking made it here.
Yeah.
You know.
You're also like a walking billboard for someone.
But, I know you're heavy on marketing, but that was my marketing.
Yeah.
That was my marketing. I understood the game. I'd go into a rave with a chain on and a watch on, young lad, designer gear. I need people to look at me and think, I want a piece of what he's got.
Yeah.
That's marketing. That's marketing being aspirational.
Personal brand, yeah.
So I relied on that heavily, I needed people to pay attention. And yes, you are a walking billboard.
Yeah.
Everyone's that's watching. In regards to how things caught up with me in the end, somebody owed some money and he got a bit of a kicking. And he had his car taken off him. He's then gone and told someone. They've told the police. We then were under surveillance, and before you know it,
so
the doors come off and
just a thread got pulled.
Yeah, basically.
That's really. So what does that look like? So for like people listening who, I've actually had lots of encounters with the police as well.
Yeah.
Not for stuff I've done, but my dad spent a lot of time in prison.
Yeah.
Not many people know what it's like when the police come knocking. What's that like?
So we got caught bank to rights. We're in this gaff now. Some food got dropped off. There's 2 kilos of coke on the table right in front of me. I'm sending a message to one of my mates, and the doors come clean off. I'm thinking I'm getting robbed. But I was like backed up against the wall, nowhere to go. There's a couple other people in the house with me. There's one more person in the house with me. The other guy was stopped outside. I thought, what the fuck? I just froze. I was like, are we being robbed? Who the fuck is it? As soon as I saw the truncheons and the rest of the gear, I was like, yeah, we're fucked here. We're proper fucked.
Yeah. So no resistance, just like...
Where was I going to go?
Yeah. It's interesting because I think like TV, for example, paints a picture of like everyone fights, but like the footage they're only ever going to show is dramatic.
Yeah.
But I know pretty much every time the doors come off at my house or next door or whatever I've witnessed, it's not as dramatic as it.
They catch you off guard.
Yeah.
It's that.
Yeah,
it's their job to catch you off guard.
Like our next door got raided when I was growing up, and 5 a.m.
Yeah,
because that's when they're in bed.
Yeah,
so
you don't have a chance. I mean, I've had my door taken off numerous amount of times, and you don't get a chance.
Yeah,
you don't get a chance. And whatever contingency plan you got at the time goes out the fucking window.
Yeah. You need hell of a compound to.
Yeah.
Okay, so roll forward from there. Obviously, court didn't go too well for you.
No.
Did you plead guilty?
Yeah, so I got remanded straight away.
Okay.
So got nicked on the Friday. I was in prison by Monday.
Just said, like, yeah, I've done it.
Not there and then. I pleaded guilty on my first hearing in court.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we banked it right. So it was right there, wasn't it?
And what did the sentence look like?
So they started me on a 9.5, knocked 25% off for the guilty plea, which left me with 7 years, 1 month.
Yeah.
Served half of that in custody, served half of that in the community.
And it's only just finished.
Yeah, in April.
What does that feel like?
I've been on 3 fucking holidays.
yeah. That's amazing.
It feels good. It feels... I've always been the most scared. Like, for example, when I left prison, those few days before I actually left, were the scariest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I actually remember crying.
Yeah.
Because I was going into the unfamiliar. It was a world I didn't know. I made this intention of, I'm changed now. I'm going to do positive things instead of doing negative things.
Yeah.
But then I was like, who the fuck do you think you are, bro? Who the fuck's going to want to work with a convicted drug dealer? Who the fuck do you think you're kidding? And it was just, for those few nights before I got out of prison, it was this internal battle of the old self and the new self, the ego and the alter ego, going to war every single night. That was the scariest part.
Yeah. Which I think most people will relate to.
Yeah.
So, sort of going all over the place here. You got remanded in custody. What prison was that?
That was in Dovegate.
And what was that like?
So on remand, you get let out in the morning on the yard, 30 minutes, let out for lunch, let out for dinner. And on the weekends, you get probably half the day where you're out. But you're padded up.
Yeah.
And you're on an induction wing where...
And there's all sorts, because it's people waiting for...
Yeah, it's people who just landed in the jail. So that's the sort of vibe. Wasn't too bad, to be honest with you. For me, there was an adaptation period that took place over probably 2 weeks. And it was the same every time I moved cell.
Yeah.
It takes me 2 weeks to adapt to any sort of climate. Where I realised, like, this isn't road anymore. You aren't out anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because at the beginning I was still going on like I was fucking normal, having normal conversation, not understanding where the fuck I was.
Yeah.
And then that kind of dawned on me. I was like, okay, this is home for a while, bro. So you need to
settle
the fuck in.
And then when you got sentenced, where did you get sent then?
So got sentenced, put on the meat wagon, went back to Dovegate. I think within 5 or 10 days we were in HMP Oakwood.
Okay.
Which is, I don't know if there's mega jails in the UK, but it's
a serious one.
Yeah. It's 2,000 people in that prison.
Yeah. And with that kind of sentence, you're put in with some pretty serious...
Yeah, so luckily, depending on the length of time that you might be serving, they put you in different categories. So, for example, if you're coming in on a murder charge, you're getting put in an ACAT or on the dispersal unit, which is where you hop from prison to prison, for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
So you can't really settle. Then you got BCATs, which are typically remand jails, which are a step down. You're getting all the people who are being remanded in there, but then you also get the people who just come from the ACATs. I landed in a CCAT. So after I got sentenced, because it was under 10 years, I landed in a CCAT, which is kind of the step before you get, day release and that sort of stuff. So it wasn't a mad prison where everyone's on violence.
Yeah.
But of course, as prison, there is violence, So yeah, I kind of got lucky in terms of the sentence that I got. That the prison that I landed in was ideal and prime for rehabilitation if you made use of it.
Yes,
I was lucky in that sense, because if I went to another prison that wasn't Oakwood, I couldn't say that I'd be how I am today.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I've visited a few, and some better than others, definitely.
Yeah.
So, where does the point come where life as you know it, you've decided can't stay the same?
Yeah.
And you've just mentioned rehabilitation. Some people never rehabilitate. Where did you go, something's got to change here?
It was on basic. I got put on basic regime when I got to Oakwood pretty much straight away. And I stayed on basic regime for about 2 months.
Did you do something wrong to get put on basic?
Yeah, so the first instance was I wanted a single pad. I was with my co-defendant. He moved cell. He moved to a different wing because on that wing you get extra visits because you got kids and so on and so forth. Obviously, I didn't have kids at the time. He did. So understandable. But I don't want to pad it with anyone else's. I don't want to be smelling next man's farts. And putting them in. Fuck that. So I was on a course. I was on the level 2 gym instructor course, actually. I was on that course. I've come back from work and there's somebody in my pad. Now, this guy had been in prison for like 8 or 9 years. So you can imagine the amount of stuff he's got. And the pads are small and awkward. So I've kicked off. They moved me on to the basic wing. Whilst I'm on there, to give me my single pad, I was happy. I had no TV, no radio, fuck all, happy as Larry. Yeah, couldn't give a fuck. Come off basic after 28 days. Because I was on the basic wing, there was weed available. Because that's how people were passing the time.
Yeah.
I had a split for 2, as you do. Got drug tested, got put back on basic. I thought to myself, I cannot do my sentence like this.
Yeah.
MT, you've got fucking... you got another 3 years, bro. Is this how you want to be living? Really? So at that point, I thought, nah, something's got to change. In terms of actually changing my viewpoint on how I was going to operate once I got outside, that happened after a conversation with the importer, Martin, older guy in his 50s, got put in for importation. 24 years he got. He's just finishing off that stretch. And he's just talking to him because he's got life experience.
Yeah.
Like, oh boy, he used to look after me. You know, I used to go in his pad. He used to have a box with old boxing matches on there. I used to watch that. And just chatting to him. And I realised that it's a revolving door. And it's, I think the stat is like 60% of people reoffend within the first year. And for me at the time, I was like, I'm 26. They've taken the best fucking years of my life. You know?
Yeah.
I was pissed off. And I was like, nah, you can't do this again. Fuck that.
Which is wild because from the people I know, so many of them reoffend not because crime is what they know, but because of the stability prison brought them.
Yeah.
They're actually hungry to get back in.
I understand that. Because there were smackheads who'd come in off the streets and fix up.
To get clean, yeah.
Get in jail. Why? Because they've got that community, they've got stability, they've got a routine, they've got a bit of a purpose.
Yeah, yeah.
And even in the city I'm in now, I was driving through Stoke, which is, so Stoke is made up of 6 towns.
Yeah.
One of the towns is Stoke. And I seen this guy I was locked up with, getting arrested. He's a smackhead. But in prison, he was amazing at badminton. He was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
No one could beat him. And he was in prison. He was a somebody. Out here is a nobody.
Yeah, and you don't realise a lot of these people, their life's so chaotic outside of prison. Their family are a bad influence. Their friends are a bad influence. They've got nothing. Like they feel unemployable for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And that the stability that provides is actually epic for a lot of people.
It did for me as well. It did for me. Because without that stability, I wouldn't have been able to do what I've done. I wouldn't have been able to put myself in a position where I'd educate myself.
Yeah.
That would have never happened if I was outside. I would never have picked up books. I would have never looked into anything.
So what changed?
My viewpoint on what success looked like. Because all those things, those thoughts in regards to where I failed before, in my personal life, who I'd let down, they come to the forefront of your mind when you're sat in a prison cell on your own. You really regret some of the shit that you've done. The way that you let people down, the way that you spoke to people, the way that you made people feel. The violence that you put into the world. You sit on that and you ponder that. And then the question I used to ask myself is the world a better place because I'm in it or a worse place? And the answer was, it's a worse place for me being here. And that's what made me think you can't really go through life just giving a shit about yourself and not being able to help anyone, not being able to impact anyone positively.
Where did that come from? Because not everyone has that.
I believe that come from regret more than anything. Because I did some bad shit. I did some bad shit to people that were close to me.
Mm.
And then when you sit back and you actually feel that guilt, that regret, and it's there night after night, I don't want to feel that again.
So what were the sort of key things that you had to confront in yourself to know that you were going to make changes?
My thought process in regards to... I had to realise how much of a piece of shit I was.
Interesting.
I had to call myself out on that. Like, you think you're sick, Imti. You think you got money or jewelry or clothes or cars or whatever. You're actually a piece of shit. If you list the stuff that you've done in your life that's positive compared to the things that are negative, you're a piece of shit. Okay, cool. How can we change that? And that's where it started.
Yeah.
That's where it started.
And what was the first change you wanted to make?
My connection with God.
Interesting.
Connection.
Had you had a connection with God prior?
I've grown up in a Muslim family, okay? And when we're younger, we go to the mosque, so on and so forth, but then life happens, okay? Typically what happens to a lot of guys who are Muslim, who are Asian. Got involved in fuckery and lost that connection with God. And that was, for me, the further you move away from God, the more open you are to making poor decisions. And when I said to you before about being a piece of shit, if I had been aware of God in those scenarios, I probably wouldn't have made the decisions that I made.
I don't know how someone knows they're a piece of shit without knowing what good looks like.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was the first thing that I kind of rectified. And then everything else kind of fell into place. Because even Islam, obviously I'm Muslim, Islam is the religion of personal development. I know it gets a bad rap in the press for one reason or another. But if you really look at it, it is the religion of personal development, of self-improvement.
I think there's a lot of confusion in the press between cultural references to various cultures around the world and what's actually religion.
Yeah.
And it gets blended into a melting pot of a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
When actually pull back and look at the text and the religion, it's as is Christianity to an extent. It's about self-development and being a good person.
Yeah. Yeah. And that happens within religions itself. So, for example, I come from an Asian background. Even like our elders, they would mix culture with religion, which shouldn't be done.
Yeah.
But these are things that happen. But going back to the text, a lot of people that have these preconceptions about Islam or any other religion, go and look at the text. Go and look what they actually teach, not what you see on your social media feed.
Yeah.
Not what you see on the news.
And I think like society has to accept that, of course, there is bad eggs in religion.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean the religion is bad.
Yeah.
You might not agree with the religion, but I find that a really, like, I'm very naive to pretty much all religion, but I've met lots of religious people, and it wasn't the religion that made them do bad things.
Yeah. It was them going against religion.
Yeah, they're following their own desires normally. Yeah.
And it's the same throughout my life. Any point where I've completely fucked up my life, which has been numerous times, by the way.
Yeah.
Has been exactly that. Me contradicting what my religion teaches me.
So what did reconnecting with God look like?
It allowed me to humble myself.
Okay.
It put my ego to the side. Always kill my ego. that ego had previously.
So something I fucking hate at the moment that a lot of CEO guru types say, and I think it's really dangerous, is main character energy.
Yeah.
Because you're not. I think it's such an ego-led statement.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're not the main. If you're a coach in your case, you're not the main character. You're the guide.
Yeah.
And if you're religious, you're not the main character because God is.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think that's a status thing, and I think status is you can't call yourself something and assume that status. Status is given to you by everybody else. So you can be the main character only if everyone else decides you're the main character.
Yeah, and that's rare.
Very rare.
Most people are their own main character.
Yeah.
So.
And the only way you can actually become that character is by having a positive effect on the group, the consensus, their life. So the status actually comes as the main character from the prestige that you bring to other people's lives.
It's a byproduct.
As a byproduct.
Yeah.
That's the only way to achieve it.
And I think that's how money flows as well.
Yeah.
Money is a byproduct.
There's energy in it. So it's the same with, even if you look at religious leaders or leaders in general in the past, the empires that did the best, it was done in that manner. They brought value and a reward to other people's lives, which allowed them to prosper for as long as possible. Because I could be domineering as fuck and be like, have the status of I'm a leader, gives you fucking lunch money. If you look at nature, those sorts of alpha males, they get killed. They don't last very long.
Yeah, interesting. So I've just been to Borneo.
Yeah.
And it was under British rule, got invaded by the Japanese. And then when the Japanese left, the British came back.
Yeah.
And I was chatting to people quite carefully because I was kind of like, I don't really want to live by the reputation of 200 years ago.
Yeah.
And they were like, we were so glad when the British came back because they led through building infrastructure and making this a nicer place. When the Japanese were here, they were marching us through the jungle and killing us.
Yeah.
And I was like, I never thought of it like that. Now, I'm not saying British empirical rule wasn't fucking horrendous. Of course it was. But just that perspective of like, there's different ways to lead.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the better way. That's the better way. You can't be domineering. You can't be domineering, of course, it's not going to go in your favour. But in regards to, being the main character, that's done through proxy. That's done through other people deciding.
It's not your choice.
It's not your fucking choice. You can't say I'm a high value male. The marketplace decides you're a high value male.
So what happens when you start to reconnect with God to the rest of your mindset?
Everything, because Islam is a religion of personal development, it teaches you to look after your body. It teaches you to educate. It teaches you to have wealth. It teaches you to strive in every area of your life as long as it doesn't contradict your relationship with God. So things kind of fell into place. Like in terms of praying 5 times a day, it gives you structure to your day. You plan your meals around that. Staying away from all the vices that you've got in prison at the time. You got drugs, you got essentially whatever you want. Staying away from that. So it gives you a playbook on how to live your life and how to suffer less, essentially. And people think it's the other way around. You're not permitted to do X, Y, or Z. You're not permitted to drink. You're not permitted to have sex before marriage. You're not permitted to so on and so forth. We've seen how that plays out in society. And you can't really argue with the data. If you let's look at alcohol, for example. It's you're not allowed to drink in Islam. What good does alcohol do for society? I'll wait.
Well, you're like preaching to the converted here.
Yeah.
I do drink, but I don't drink very often.
Yeah.
And my feelings on it are, I think anything in moderation can have its benefits, but I would say alcohol in particular, the negatives far outweigh the benefits. So there's no real benefit as such.
Yeah.
The maths don't stack.
Yeah.
And I often find, because alcohol's synthetic essentially, it's a processed food.
Yeah.
You're creating a situation where you're poisoning yourself to be able to cope with the situation you're in.
It's mad, isn't it?
And that,
it's absolutely absurd.
and I was at a party on Friday. It was a business event, and some of the people on my table were drinking, some weren't. And it was one of those where it was my table, so I wasn't going to drink so much that I made a fool of myself.
Yeah.
And then I find the people that did drink a lot were annoying. They were having a great time because they didn't know. But I was like, I wonder if nobody had drank at this event, if we'd have all had a better time.
What do you state as a better time? Well, it depends.
Enjoyed each other's company, had deeper conversation.
Actually connected with someone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't trust people who drink like in terms of, if you're drinking around me, there's something that makes me wary of you. I don't know, probably from my own antics when I was younger.
Yeah.
Where I'm erratic. So I'm like, I'll sit with my back to the wall.
Yeah, and I guess like we know some characters.
Yeah.
Like, you know, in the business space, you're going to meet characters, and a lot of business people are all or nothing. So they know that if they drink, it's the gateway to other bad behaviour.
I'm the same. It'll just open up everything else because that inhibition's gone. That self-awareness is out the fucking window.
So in your case, is that then severing your connection with God?
What's that?
If you were to get drunk, your ability to tune into your centre,
because
is gone.
You're no longer self-aware.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
You're no longer self-aware. In order for you to be aware of God and God-aware, you've got to be self-aware.
Yeah,
and any sort of intoxication takes away from that. And if you look at it from a neurological standpoint, what takes over is the animal brain that takes over when you're drunk. And we know in terms of the logical part of your brain, the part of the brain which is responsible for self-awareness, that's switched off. And in order for you to connect with a higher being or another energy, whatever your faith is, whatever you believe in, you've got to be operating from the logical brain.
Yeah. It's really, I mean, people have heard on this podcast and you've heard the story, but I've never really been a drug taker. I have drank, but never to excess.
Yeah.
And then I made a cock up last year and accidentally took 100 milligrams of THC.
I've seen the picture.
Yeah.
That picture.
It's almost a video.
Yeah.
And it was a positive thing for me because I'll never do that again.
Okay.
I learned such a lesson. I was gone.
Yeah.
I thought I wasn't coming back. And the people with me thought I wasn't coming back. They thought I'd turn myself into a vegetable. And the insight that gave me into who I want to be as a person versus I wanted to take 5 milligrams of THC to get a good night's sleep the night before and accidentally took 100 milligrams. And in a place where it's legal, but nearly ruined myself.
Yeah.
And there's people doing that every day of the week.
Yeah. What are they escaping from? That's the question. Why are people...
Well, jet lag in my case, so not too bad.
No, obviously you want to get sleep, don't you? But you know, these people who are doing drugs, say they're drinking or more than what they would like. Why are they involving themselves in these sorts of behaviors? What they're trying to escape from? What's really going on below under the surface? Because I think if you really, I don't want to use the word happy because happiness is fleeting. But if you're,
can we touch on that?
Yeah, we can touch on that.
That's really interesting what you just said, and I don't want to pass it by.
Yeah. Do you want to dig into that now?
I'm not digging you out.
No, do you want to dig into that now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I let's roll forward. You're now a coach.
Yeah.
And you're coaching some high-flying men.
Yeah.
Basically, I had to be better.
Yeah.
And you've just said happiness is fleeting.
Yeah.
And I talk about that a lot on this podcast, and a lot of people call me out on it. So I think being content should be the goal.
Yeah. And
that happiness is just the opposite of sadness. And if you're content, happiness and sadness don't have the same effect on you anyway.
They don't. Content as well, I think, can be dangerous as well, because that can lead to complacency.
Yeah, I don't mean comfortable.
Yeah.
And I know that it's like semantics.
Yeah.
But content means that you can, in my mind, you can be content and very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But you're still happy with your lot.
Yeah.
Comfortable, I think, is the road to nowhere.
Yeah.
And I lose purpose when I'm comfortable and get into all sorts of dark places. So,
Yeah.
So talk about this happiness as a fleeting thing.
So
Because everyone's chasing that.
Yeah, because any emotion that you're feeling comes and goes. Whether you're sad, whether you're happy, whether you're angry.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can accept that as it's impossible for it to be a permanent state.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So why the fuck is everyone vying to be happy all the time when you know every single emotion that you feel doesn't work like that?
How shit would it be if you were happy all the time? Because
It'd be awful.
You wouldn't know what it was anymore.
Yeah, it'd be awful. It'd be absolutely awful. Being content is one. Being useful.
Yeah.
Aim to be useful.
Yeah, feeling like you have purpose.
Yeah, that's the main thing, because I think when you give a man purpose and he feels he belongs somewhere, he will do the hard things. He will do the hard things. He will, do what is required instead of what makes him feel good.
So, given what you're now setting up and growing, what's your purpose?
My purpose is to create a society where men are capable, useful for themselves and their families, so society can benefit as a whole, because the deterioration of society in the West, I'm going deep here, is paired with the deterioration of men and their capability. So men have become soft over time, we know this. They are lazier than they have ever been. They are making excuses more than they have ever done. And they're not stepping up, okay? They're not being what they should be.
Mm.
And that's led to, in regards to like relationships breaking down, women having to step up and become more masculine, children then suffering. Then it leads to things like crime rates, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So what's really happened? And people are going to, have conspiracy theories or whatever, men have been made soft on purpose by the governments and media and so on and so forth. Okay, cool. But at the end of the day, they still had a fucking choice.
So there's a lot to unpack there, a lot. I feel like a lot of people have strived for comfort, and comfort creates softness.
Yeah.
And I think someone like yourself, maybe me, I strive for purpose,
Yeah.
which is a bit different.
Yeah.
Purpose sharpens the blade, comfort like dulls the blade.
Yeah.
What in particular do you think, because you made that differentiation between men and women,
Yeah.
what do you think's going on?
I mean, it depends how far back you want to go. So if you look at in terms of what's happened in the UK, when women came with allowed to work and, that sort of thing, after the Second World War, they kind of rebuilt the country, so on and so forth. The government found another taxable population.
Yes.
Great, fantastic. We've got a shitload more money to spend on whatever our agenda is. Cool. They then made it difficult for you to live on a single salary.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes, it's only 2 generations ago.
Yeah.
Most households there's only one breadwinner.
Yeah. Okay. So what started off as a luxury where both people could go work, it then became compulsion. Both people in the relationship had to go and work. Now what happened over time is women figured out we don't need men anymore to support us. We can support ourselves financially. Cool. Then there was a subsect of men that were left thinking, where the fuck do I fit in here? Purpose, gone.
Yeah.
Then in terms of mental health, drug use, drink, so on and so forth, that increased, which led to everything else. Now, we can't go and change what governments are going to do. We can't go change that, okay? But what we can do is change the way that we operate as men, and making sure that we aren't looking for the easy way out or looking for the excuse, and making ourselves useful again and becoming capable again, okay? And that doesn't mean being financially successful. That doesn't mean being physically fit. That doesn't mean these things, you know? And striving for that, because over time, what's happened, and you look at, you know, kids that end up in care and the crime rates and stuff like that, it all, I believe, stems from that. It's the disparity between roles, in terms of men and women in this day and age. The lines are blurred.
Yeah.
Women are more masculine than ever, and men are more feminine than ever.
Do you think that's a misogynistic statement?
Why would that be misogynistic?
I'm asking.
No.
Okay.
I don't think. I think women have the single most important role in society, and that is to bring up children, and bring them up well. You know.
So, me and my wife aren't going to have kids. Mm-hmm. She's an incredibly independent woman. She's very feminine.
Yeah.
There's no, you know, I totally appreciate that's a subjective phrase. There's loads of different versions of femininity. One being the most feminine thing is to have a child. I totally. Yeah. But we don't have a traditional relationship in that sense. Like, we're not going to have kids. She's very motherly. Yeah. Like, loving woman to our niece and nephew. Amazing for our dog. I know that sounds ridiculous, but she is. She literally, part of her profession is teaching kids about nature and wildlife and stuff. But we don't fit that template that you just painted. Discuss.
And your point is?
My point is that we could be, in your view, we could be contributing to broken society.
Possibly.
Okay.
Possibly. What's led you guys to make that decision?
Lots. So my wife was born with an inherited issue. She's born with club feet. Okay. It's normally passed down the male lineage, but she was born with, so she's had over 17 operations. She's had her legs reconstructed 3 times. Okay. There's a hereditary history of severe mental illness on my side of the family. Okay. So my dad has bipolar. His dad had bipolar. I've had suicidal tendencies, and we both felt that we could help an awful lot of people in other ways without having kids.
Okay, interesting. So, with you guys, it was a choice made from what you think could happen.
Yeah, not fear, I would say. More, and there is an element. I'll be honest. There's an element of selfishness too. We both love exploring the world, and we're both fiercely ambitious in our individual careers. Yeah, and children probably don't fit that picture.
Yeah. So that's interesting, because the whole the premise that I'm kind of the line that I'm going down is that the whole purpose of society and humans as a species is to reproduce. Yep. And to improve and to get better. Yep. And you're okay with not contributing to that. Yeah. That's what we're saying, and that's fine. That's your choice. And I guess there is an element of fear. My concern is that if I did contribute to that, I might add someone to the pool that causes more trouble than good. Does that say more about you?
It could do. It could
do. Because that isn't.
I mean, I've worked very, very hard on my mental health. Yeah. And I have not had the problems my dad's had. Yeah. It's not that isn't a fact. That's something that's in your own mind. Let me put it this way. I've got a friend called Abid. He's in a wheelchair. Yeah. He's had muscular dystrophy or atrophy, one of the two, for the last 35 years. Started off as a normal kid walking around, ended up in a wheelchair. Now he can't even feed himself, okay? Yeah. He had a daughter. She's like 12, 13 months old. She's got a condition, okay? Cool. Now, with that scenario, he knew the risk involved. He knew that beforehand, but he still understood that as a man, his daughter would be a contribution to society. Yeah. You know? In regards to your choices, like you said, admittedly it was selfish, and that's fine. But going back to what I said in regards to we're here to contribute to society, and the best contribution we can make is the offspring that we leave behind. Yeah. You've consciously opted out of that. Yeah, yeah. So your
impact and the change that you want to see in the world is going to be blunted.
It's limited.
Limited,
like
yeah. Yeah. And only through what you achieve through your business or charity work, so on and so forth.
Yeah. I mean, I'm doubling down in other ways
Yeah.
for sure. But I wanted to explore that because
here's a question for you. How are you going to feel when you're old and grey and you know that's the end of your
lineage?
Yeah.
I don't have like legacy ego.
Yeah.
I'd love for like my niece and nephew to be financially okay. But again, I wouldn't want to give them a chunk of money.
Yeah.
I kind of want them to learn the value of money. And I'd love for like everyone that works for me to be financially okay.
Yeah.
I've got no desire to further the family name. I don't even have my real surname now.
Yeah.
My real granddad, his surname was Thompson.
Imagine if everyone thought like you.
Yeah.
That's the dangerous thing. And I think over time...
Well, that's only dangerous if you believe that the continuation of the human race is vitally important, which is a very deep subject.
I do believe it is. Because without the human race, like I said, just going back to God, that's the purpose. For us, the purpose of our lives is to worship God.
Yep.
You know, and that can be done through various means. It isn't just literally praying. It could be the
delivering his message, behaving in a certain way,
so on and so forth. But I just think that strips away the purpose of life. It strips away the purpose of being alive.
Which I think so. That brings a lot of identity for you that I don't have.
Yeah.
So,
but Joel, one thing I do notice about you though, whenever I've spoken in the group, I've dropped something in about it triggers something in you. You're intrigued.
Yeah.
You're very much intrigued. And for me, I stick my neck out and say that you are looking for something. Don't know what it is.
I refuse to be closed-minded.
Yeah.
For someone who is atheist,
yeah,
I refuse to be closed. I find society, I think now, has a real issue with disagreeing with each other.
Yeah.
And I think disagreements are really healthy.
Yeah.
And I also think conversation and debate is really healthy. I can comfortably sit in the room with someone who values and beliefs don't align with mine and have a much better conversation than I could with someone who agrees with everything I say.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lost art in society. I think it's something that was really important that we're losing. And I know as an atheist that my life lacks purpose in the spiritual sense of purpose. So I'm always looking for purpose and like, you know, impact.
Yeah.
Because I want to positively impact people and I want to be a good person. And I don't know where that comes from.
Yeah. So that's innately in humans.
Yeah.
That is innately in us to do good. And that can only come from, well, I'll let you make your mind up on that.
Yeah, that's. I knew we would meet that point in this conversation.
Yeah, I'll let you make your mind up on that. And for me, there is only one feasible answer, knowing what I know, and it's God given. That is God given. You know, and I think for me there is no other viable explanation because I've been down the spiritual route. I've been down, you know, looking at things from a scientific standpoint, and they all lead to one thing, that there is a greater being, a higher power. How obviously I'm born into a Muslim background, but even then, there has to be something that's in control. There has to be something that's designed the universe, human beings, and everything as we know it. There has to be.
The thing I find hard, particularly when I've been like low or depressed, is if you're completely scientific about everything, which I usually am. I'm a very like logical person. There is no meaning to anything. Yeah. And when you're in a bad space, that is not a good area of your mind to explore.
What is more important, the how or the why?
So I'm a why guy.
Yeah. So science explains how.
Yeah.
Faith explains why.
Yeah.
And I think the why is always more important than the how.
Yeah. So that, I think, was probably 15 minutes or so of my favourite part of any podcast I've ever recorded.
Seriously.
And just for the listeners' benefit, what do you do now? Because like I probably came into this conversation with you thinking we might butt heads on a few things. And I knew you'd be fine with that. But I wanted people to hear where you've come from, hear you stand up to me because I'm quite a forthright guy myself, and also then tell people what you do now.
Okay. So what I do now is I work with business owners on mindset, on how they're operating within their business, because a lot of the time they're leaving fulfillment on the table, they're leaving money on the table, they're leaving time on the table, purely because they're not operating and doing what they're meant to be doing. And that is not just in the business, that is with the family, that is within themselves in terms of fitness, so on and so forth. So making sure that they're optimized to, one, have a fulfilled life and have that purpose, but then also have the money and be able to buy the experiences for themselves and their loved ones, and to create a real impact.
Yeah. And what is the reason someone would want to, like you said, experiences, so I'm into that. I was trying to say, like, why would you want to buy stuff for your loved ones? But I do.
Yeah.
Like,
you always get more from giving
yeah,
than getting it for yourself.
Yeah.
Always. And that's one thing, like, I had a conversation with this guy I stayed in Dubai with, multimillionaire, does not give a fuck about anything materialistic, but he goes on deployments to war-stricken countries all the time. And I had him on my podcast. I did a short episode in Dubai. And he was like, you need to go. I was like, why? He goes, you get so much from it, even on a selfish standpoint. So that's why I've opted in to go on a deployment to Palestine in December.
Yeah, there's no unselfish act ever.
No. Because I think also what that does is it lowers your floor. We talk about elevating the ceiling, it lowers your floor.
Yeah.
Because once you've seen that, you're going to come back from a completely different person.
That's why I love travel.
Yeah.
I don't go like on an all-inclusive to Lanzarote. That's not me.
Yeah.
I go to like far-flung parts of the world, and I see some lovely things, but I also see, so like, you know, we always make a charitable donation and go and do a day of volunteering or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I think it gives me perspective. So talk me through that, what you're doing.
So obviously we know the state of affairs in the Middle East. I couldn't live my life knowing that I was alive during this time and I did fuck all.
How did you get there when literally 7 years ago you were just living for you?
It was that same question. Is the world a better place because you were here? And I want that answer to be yeah.
So what does this look like then? Do you fly out to Jordan?
So go fly out to Jordan. We land in Jordan on the 22nd or the 23rd. We cross the border into Palestine.
Is that dangerous?
Yeah, so sometimes, I'll speak to the woman, she was saying sometimes they don't let you in. So you can't refer, check this for a mad one, bro. You can't refer to Palestine as Palestine.
Because of the Israelis.
So she made that mistake. Like, where you going? She mentioned Palestine. What Palestine? What are you on about?
So you've got to say Gaza.
No. Gaza's a place. Palestine, they don't recognize it as a...
Yeah, I know, that's what I mean, yeah.
So you've got to say that you're going on a tour.
Yeah.
Of the mosque there. You're going on.
So Israel controls the border.
Yeah.
Okay.
What were you going to say?
I just find it heartless. I find it really sad.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's a disputed land. It's been a disputed land for 2,000 years. I just think there's a human element there where here's a guy stood at the border with a box of aid, or a lady stood at the border with a box of aid saying, I want to go see these refugees and feed them because they're fucking starving and dying. and you're questioning the wording I've used at the border. That's pathetic.
That's what we've got to in the world right now. And yeah, so we're going to go over there. We're going to hand out aid. Hopefully, if we don't get let into there, there's camps in Jordan with Palestinian refugees. We'll be doing work there. So just packaging up aid, handing out aid, making what difference we can. You know, it's at least I've done something.
Yeah.
At least I've done something. At least I can say I tried, because this will be remembered in history. This will be, you know, how people talk about the Holocaust, how people talk about these other genocides that have happened. There were people who were complicit at the time.
Yeah.
Who didn't do nothing, and you complicit through,
inactivity.
Inactivity, yeah. I don't want to fall into that category. I do not want to fall into that category.
Yeah. It's a scary context that I think a lot of people are happy to turn a blind eye to.
Yeah.
Not happy, that's wrong. Are naive to turn a blind eye to. They just like carry on as normal.
Yeah, because it's a case of, if it doesn't affect me, fuck them. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
In the end, if it was,
But the chickens come home to roost.
yeah,
Everything ends up affecting us.
Yeah.
So you like, at what point? And I'm a little bit older than you, and I'd say the last 20 years, we've seen this like hyper-capitalist attitude of like, I'm in it for me, fuck everyone else.
yeah,
And I'm now seeing, and I'm enjoying seeing it, a lot of business owners coming through are saying, actually, I have my most success when I help more people.
yeah. It's through collaboration. And I used to be of this lone wolf mentality, and it's absolute bullshit, because nothing's ever done on your own.
Yeah.
And when you have the right people around you, and you have the right team around you, and you have people you can bounce ideas off, you get way further than you would do on your own.
Yeah.
But I think it's a very, very British thing as well, in terms of you keep yourself to yourself. I don't think that's the case in other parts of the world.
Well, my wife's family are Italian,
yeah,
and it's an open door culture.
yeah,
So like, you just walk into each other's houses.
Yeah.
If you're having dinner and someone walks in, they get asked to sit at the table.
I think it's a very British thing.
And I grew up in rural England, and it was like that too. Open door culture. Urban England is not like that.
It used to be when we were growing up, to be fair.
Yeah.
But it's I think it's disappeared. It's disappeared.
You used to have street parties, like real. I know that's a real random thing, but like any excuse really to put a few tables in the road and just like put some party rings out.
You've got to remember the conditions that we're living in economically as well. People are under the most stress that they have ever been.
Yeah,
they're struggling to
but
make
pretending they're not, I think, is the
yeah. They're struggling to make ends meet. Readily available debt has fucked people up. This whole consumerism thing that's being pushed, you know, you've got to have certain things, and I speak about this a lot, has got people fucked up. So when you push this need of being somebody through materialistic stuff, and then you also give them debt on demand, you're creating a nation that are essentially slaves to work. They have to go to work.
I think that's what the mortgage system is.
Yeah, well, that is what the mortgage system is. It's this whole full sense of ownership. But people forget that they're going to die, and they never truly own anything in this world. So you're brainwashed into thinking you're a somebody if you bought your house and you're living in it. You don't own the house. The bank owns the house. You've got to go work for the bank.
I've got a mortgage.
Yeah,
but I have it with open eyes.
Yeah.
So.
But the majority of people don't see it that way and don't go into it with open eyes, and they think they're a somebody or they've achieved something by having a shitload of debt.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense. But then on top of it, they've got to have the 2 or 3 holidays a year, and they've also got to be living a certain way, have 2 cars in the drive, and so on and so forth. They think that's success. That's enslavement. That's enslavement to the point where you don't know who your neighbor on this side is, and you don't know who your neighbor on this side is.
Yeah.
And gonna steal one of Andrew Tate's phrases, but it's the Matrix. It is the Matrix. People are plugged in.
We got an hour in before you mentioned him.
Yeah.
You called me a brokey once. What does that mean?
I didn't call you a brokey. I've never called you a brokey.
You did, yeah.
When did I call you a brokey?
You said it as a joke.
Oh, it was a joke.
Yeah.
What did you say for me to elicit that? We were having a joke about Andrew Tate.
I onboarded you as a client to do your branding.
Yeah.
And one of the questions was like, who are three people?
Yeah. One of those Andrew
inspirational
Tate.
people. And you said Andrew Tate. And I replied to you on text message something like, Andrew Tate, we can have a long chat about that. And you said, don't come at me, you brokey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't mean to call you a brokey.
Yeah, no.
It was in the context of that.
Yeah.
So in terms of Andrew Tate, so I get a lot of comparisons and stick and whatever, you know. With Andrew Tate, I know exactly what he's doing. I know.
Yes.
I can see when he's saying certain shit, I'm pissing myself because I'm like, he's having a giggle. He's having all of it on and you're all buying it. And for me as a marketer and somebody who's like, every fucker knows who he is.
I think Trump markets himself the same way.
Yeah. Elon is the same. Kanye is the same.
I'm nervous about that style of marketing. I think you're more nuanced than that.
Yeah.
Is the truth.
There's certain things I don't agree with that Tate does. There's a lot of things that I don't agree with. And over time, as you've seen Tate, you will see him contradict himself and sell himself out. Like he's done a podcast with Bonnie Blue. If you really stood by what you were about, you would not be doing and giving her any sort of fucking press.
Time.
You wouldn't. So it just goes to show. But for me, in terms of...
I think he's become a parody of what he was.
Yeah.
That's my honest...
I've
listened to that podcast.
He's always been a parody. He's always been... It's been a character that he's played.
So the host of that podcast, Rob Moore, has been on this podcast.
Has he?
So
awesome.
When he got them on, I knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah. And like I said, in terms of Tate, if he really stood for what he was talking about initially, he wouldn't have made U-turns on a lot of topics, and he
wouldn't
do that.
have run a webcam agency.
Well,
although he might have changed since then.
I want to sell drugs in that case, though.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that was previously. However, when you're coming out and you're talking, going against, being an advocate for gender roles, so on and so forth. But then also, you got naked women around you all the fucking time.
Those two things don't add up.
They don't mix, bro. So you're full of shit. So, but the reason why I mentioned it on that form is purely because of the way that he's managed to captivate an audience.
Yeah.
Whoever's behind him in terms of marketing, however's done it, that's what I respect.
Someone who did it probably before your time, but was very famous for doing it, Richard Branson.
Was he? Okay.
So he didn't know how to make... Well, he did know how to make noise, but he wanted people to see Virgin as a very different type of business.
Yeah.
So he flew around the world in a hot air balloon.
Yeah.
Which everyone else thought was fucking mental.
Yeah.
And it is.
Yeah.
But
That's personal brand.
What a marketing stunt.
Yeah. Exactly that. So that's the reason why I had him on that form. His views and beliefs, I don't think he believes half the things he says.
He can't, because it contradicts.
It contradicts. So there's a whole... But one thing I will say is the motherfucker can talk. He can fucking talk. He speaks with that much conviction when he knows he's wrong.
Trump does that.
Yeah.
Very, very well. Where, like, he says things with such a level of conviction.
It's a fact.
That if you didn't know, you would believe him.
Yeah. Like the sky's green.
Yeah.
You'll be able to say it in a way where you think and have a look.
Yeah.
So
talk me through that. You coached men, men who, by all intents and purposes, are already successful.
Yeah.
How do they speak with conviction without being full of shit?
How do they speak with conviction?
It's really important. Anything you say,
yeah,
as a man or a woman,
yeah,
if you believe it, you should say it with conviction.
Yeah.
But when someone comes to work with you,
yeah,
they're probably going through a process of like figuring out what they actually believe in.
Yeah, to an extent, a lot of the stuff comes from like insecurity. Like they are very insecure. Yeah. Hi. So it comes down to insecurity. They're very insecure. So a lot of the guys don't want to get on camera. They don't want to speak. They're scared of being judged. They don't believe or recognize how well they've actually done. They kind of know it, but they don't at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's kind of giving them the permission to back themselves even more so and unlock that next level. Like I've had guys come to me who are on paper very successful, but when you really dig into them, they're insecure about absolutely everything. And I don't think insecurity is a bad thing. I think it's a signal. I think it's a signal in areas that you're lacking.
So I used to think that the greatest way for me to build my business was to prove myself wrong. So like I would be like, I'd have like a lack of self-worth.
Yeah.
And so I would build it bigger to
bridge that gap.
To try and bridge the gap.
Yeah.
And it worked for a long time till I ran out of energy, basically. And then when I moved away from that and became actually the best way to both build the business and give myself worth is to serve a purpose and essentially make other people feel good, be it help them feed their families, help them live the life they want to lead.
Yeah.
I suddenly felt much more fulfilled as a person.
Interesting.
When I moved away from self.
Yeah.
Like chip on my shoulder mentality, I think. Probably from my upbringing.
I think both are required, to be fair. Because without that chip on your shoulder, you won't have the get up and go to get started.
That's the fire that lights the fuel.
Yeah, to keep going.
But it's not fuel.
To keep going, you do have to find that deeper meaning. I do agree. But these guys are at the beginning of their journey in terms of coming on social media or building out a personal brand.
Yeah.
They need that. They need that spark. They need to bridge that gap in their insecurity.
Yeah.
And it's giving their, essentially what I do a lot of the time is giving them permission to do so.
Yeah.
One of the easiest ways is to get them on a podcast. I'm getting to talk about
what they believe in.
What they believe in a conversation.
What's the most controversial thing anyone's said?
For me, there's nothing controversial because we agree on most things.
Interesting. Because they're attracted to you in the first place.
Yeah, in the first place. So
all right.
There's nothing really controversial.
Something you said is you're not for everyone.
I'm not.
So you must then attract people who, well, occasionally you're going to attract someone that's not the right fit, but generally you must attract people who think like you think. What would be like 3 key things that would make this so obvious?
That I'm not for everyone.
Yeah. Sounds like I'm baiting you, and I'm not baiting you. I would want people listening to this to, one, know what you stand for, and therefore reach out to you if they were right.
Yeah.
But also to explore what these things might be.
Okay, if you want me to be nice to you, just for the sake of being nice, then I'm not the one.
Your guy.
I'm not the one. I'm going to tell you how it is.
Yeah.
How you process that is up to you. But what I will say with that as a caveat is I have your best interests at heart.
So that old guy when you were in prison, with the box of boxing videos, he was nice to you.
Yeah.
If he'd have been harsh, would he have got through?
What he said was harsh.
Okay.
What he said was harsh.
But he just delivered it in a way.
Yeah, so obviously rapport was built.
Yes.
And then he delivered something that was harsh because at that point in time, I was like, I'm going to come out. The motherfuckers aren't going to catch me again. Watch, it's on. He goes, come here, little prick.
Yeah.
Do you really think that's going to happen? How you're planning out?
Yeah.
Really? You
think you're going to take on the whole
You think
system?
you're not going to end up in here? You daft cunt. And I was like, okay, he's probably got a point.
Yeah.
What the other, on the flip side, somebody could have been like, bro, fucking go for it, man.
Enablers.
Yeah. So I'm not going to sit there and help you wallow in your own pity.
My best friends and mentors in life challenge my opinion.
Yeah. It has to be done because you need another perspective. For you to see your blind spots, you need another perspective. And it's going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And the guys that I tend to work with, they've got people around them who are nice to them. Maybe you should think about it this way. Or Yeah, have you tried this? No, you dumb ass cunt. Look at it, it's in black and white.
Yeah.
You've tried this before and you've got this result. Are you happy with the results? Yes or no? How about we change tact? I think that might be a good idea.
Yeah. What about the other two? So that was number one, was don't expect Mr. Nice Guy.
The second thing, in regards to, are you talking about my coaching style here?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Coaching style, values.
Yeah.
The things that people listening to this that would be like, bloody hell, that was a deep conversation. I wonder why this guy isn't for everyone.
Okay, got you. So the second thing would definitely be the life experience that I've got. So anything that you are going through, I've experienced it.
Mm-hmm.
So divorce, been there. Custody battles, been there. Been out of shape, been there. Failed in business. I had business before I went to prison, been there. So anything you are going through or experiencing, I've been there 9 times out of 10. So it's that life experience you're going to get.
Yeah.
I'm not the most, analytical sort of guy, but what you're going to get is a shit ton of experience through life. And in terms of the emotional support and what you're experiencing, because I've been there, I'll be able to guide you a lot better than a lot of other people would be able to who've grown up very differently in probably more comfortable circumstances.
Nice. What about number 3? What do you butt heads with people on the most? What comes into the DMs on some of your content?
It's a lack of self-belief, It's a lack of self-belief. That's got to be the biggest killer for most guys, is they know that something's got to change, but even given the plethora and the magnitude of proof that they've got in the locker already, they still doubt themselves.
Yeah.
So for me, it's coming into their life and seeing something in them that they can't see for themselves and being able to empower them on that.
Yeah. Something you said, not to me, but I've seen you say, that struck a chord with me, and it's an interesting talking point from a coaching standpoint, is you don't trust fat people.
Yeah.
When you met me, I was pretty fat.
Yeah.
I'm still fat, but I'm getting thinner.
You're actively trying to improve that.
I am now, yeah. I haven't always been.
Yeah.
So I was like, I wonder if he trusted me when he met me, because obviously he chose to work with me and stuff.
So the first time I met you in person, and I was around you, we were at a mastermind. Was it a mastermind? The one at
I was teaching a meta ad today, I think. The first time.
No, but I didn't meet you then.
Okay.
I didn't meet you. When I was around you and I experienced you.
Yeah.
One of your wins for that period of time, whatever it was, I've lost X amount of weight.
Yeah.
So at that point,
Were you already working with me then? We'd already done the branding before that day.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting, I mean, trust is obviously a spectrum anyway.
Yeah.
But I was like, it's interesting. He says he doesn't, I don't trust fat people. It's such a cutting statement when there's a nuance obviously around it. But I was like, I wonder if he trusted me. I was like, he trusted me enough to give me enough money to do this project.
Yeah.
So I was like, where? And like, then I in my brain, which is where I would like read your your statement and be like, oh, maybe I won't work with him then.
Yeah.
There's some very fat successful people. There's some very capable fat people.
Yeah.
And yet the thing that was nagging me about the statement was I kind of agreed with it.
Yeah. The thing is, with that statement, you got to think of the thought process behind that. Fat people can't trust themselves around food. Nobody wants to be overweight.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody. I don't think anybody thinks, yeah, I'm going to be fat when I'm older.
That's a modern concept though, isn't it?
What's that?
Not wanting to be overweight.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, this day and age, nobody wants to be fat.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be fat. But what's led them to that point is the fact that they can't trust themselves around food.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And people will they'll come to a certain point where people will reveal themselves in terms of their behaviours. So I've seen it many a time where I've had a doubt about someone because of the way that they acted, and then that's exactly what's
panned out somewhere else.
Yeah, down the line. So in terms of I don't trust fat people, in a scenario where I've done something wrong and you're being interrogated for it, I'm going to be a bit worried because I know you've got the capability of folding.
Yeah. That's such a criminal way of explaining it, but yeah.
Yeah. I know you could probably snitch because you fold when there's fucking food about.
Yeah.
Are you with me? And a lot of the time, you can't trust yourself. In that scenario, you can't trust yourself. And then as you've lost weight and you've started to create that proof for yourself, I'm sure that's kind of spilt over into other areas of your life.
I'll tell you why it hurt me. And hurt is a strong word again. I'm not easily hurt. Why it resonated with me is my disordered eating is born out of other things, as it would be for most people.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, the reason I eat is because I'm usually knackered and I've been beating myself up all day because I've been serving other people.
Yeah.
And so actually, the reason you should trust me is the reason that I eat, because but that's also a false narrative that I tell myself, because if I had looked after myself properly whilst I was doing those activities, I wouldn't have done that.
That's on you.
Yeah.
It's on you.
Which is why it hurt.
Yeah.
But
it wouldn't hurt if it wasn't true.
Yeah.
And that highlights the insecurity. I had a conversation with a client about this, and he went on holiday on a stag do, and he was insecure. One, about the way that he looked, and two, he was around other successful people, and he felt insecure about their success.
Okay.
And I goes, when you're feeling insecure, let's say, for example, you had a six-pack right now, Joel.
It's there somewhere.
Yeah. No, but if you had one on display, you know? If I called you a fat cunt, it would not affect you.
No.
It would not affect you. But if you were to be overweight...
Well, that's not true, is it? Like, there are people with body dysmorphia who've got six
Joel,
packs.
come on now. Come on.
They are.
That's not really going to happen. What tends to happen a lot more is...
They'll laugh.
Yeah, they'll laugh. They'll laugh it off. They will laugh it off. In terms of actually crippling insecurity, you can't call somebody with a six-pack abs a fat cunt and then crumble. It's somebody who is overweight a lot of the time. So insecurity, when you get that pain or...
But like taking it to the extreme,
yeah.
My best friend had anorexia and depression.
Yeah.
She's not with us anymore. And you could call her fat and it would hurt. And she wasn't fat.
Yeah.
That's where I think deep down, that's where a statement like that could.
If you called her skinny, would she been hurt?
Yes, as well.
Yeah, so what the fuck you meant to do there?
Well, do you see the territory we're in?
No, but what I'm saying is, if you made any comment about her body, she would have been hurt, which shows she's insecure about her body. Full stop.
Yes.
Yeah, cool. The question is, how do you rectify that?
Yeah.
That's the real question.
That's the thing I'm looking at is, like, to work with you, you need to be in a place where you're ready to rectify.
Yeah.
And there are people out there that maybe through no fault of their own would see a statement like that and it's like, look, Imti's not your guy.
Exactly. I've had clients off the back of that. I've had opportunities at the back of that. For my next event, check this for a mad one. That exact video that you're talking about, there's a guy who said the same thing that you said. Charlie Norton, if you're watching this, big up. Charlie Norton, he is in mergers and acquisition, okay? And this guy knows some high flyers. He commented on that video, I know loads of people who are overweight who are billionaires. Cool.
Yeah.
Now, if that didn't strike a chord with him, because he wouldn't have
commented.
He wouldn't have commented.
Yeah.
But he's now speaking at my next event. So something resonated.
Which is the whole, I think, discussion is healthy.
Yeah.
And it's okay to disagree.
Yeah.
And you need to bring opinions into the room.
And if I kept that opinion to myself, then that opportunity wouldn't have lined up.
Yeah.
Are you with me? So I do believe that. I do believe people who are overweight have an issue with trusting themselves If you can't trust yourself, how the fuck am I meant to trust you?
Yeah.
If you really break it down logically, how can I trust you? Because if I'm working with you, or depends to what level you're around me, I want to know you got my back.
Yeah.
Because when somebody's got my back, I will break my back for him.
Yeah.
I will literally break my back for him.
And it's characterized through, like, we're picking on like one thing of 500 character traits.
Yeah.
And it's how you spot whether someone is reliable or not. Like, much like
timekeeping.
How do they park their car? Like, it's like,
So all these sorts of things, they give you signals. They give you enough information for you to make a educated assumption on what someone's going to be like down the line. Yeah, and you've seen it in your life. You've seen it in your life when you had red flags and you didn't pick up on them. And down the line, you thought, fuck.
So the problem for me, and a lot of people that listen to this podcast, will be ignoring red flags because the business is struggling that month, or they want to keep somebody else happy. And then those red flags come back to bite you in the arse.
Yeah. It's exactly that. I read a book called What They Don't Teach You in Harvard Business School. And he talks about this exact same thing. How people show you how they're going to act down the line when the pressure's on. Just choose not to pay attention.
Yeah, I mean, the mentorship you're in now, this time last year, I'd just taken over the business, and they took us up Snowdon with the SAS at midnight, and it was pissing down. It was freezing.
Yeah,
and I fell ill just before we left and didn't tell anyone.
Yeah,
and so an hour in, I was in all sorts of trouble.
Yeah.
And there's 200 of us on the side of this mountain. And in my head, I was like, if I don't fucking get up this mountain and back down again, no one in this group will ever trust me again.
Yeah. And it's right.
So I did it.
Yeah.
Even though it was horrendous. I didn't even get back till like 6:45 in the morning.
Yeah.
But I was like, there is no way I can be the only person that comes off this mountain having not done it.
Yeah. That's the great thing about group accountability. It fucking works.
Imti, you have been an epic guest. I could talk to you all day. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Get on to me on that camera, Instagram. It's my full name, Imthiaz_Ghulam. And you can also find me on the Legacy podcast on YouTube.
Legend. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, bro.